Frantic start here today. I was up the stairs doing my laundry. It's still not finished. I might have to drop out for a minute here later on to go and hang up my laundry. Where are we? Frantic start this morning, sorry. Here we are, Twitch. Activate the questions, activate the chat. Good morning, people. We're up live, I see. This is going to be a bit experimental for the first bit this morning here, because I got a new camera angle we're playing with. And it's not so good for me. It's clearing on the Kyosai block. If anybody was here last night, we finished off the carving. Is this showing? Testing audio 1, 2, yeah, it seems okay. Okay, let's keep going. Yesterday we finished I finished the carving of the key lines on this block, and then used my chisels to clear away most of the waste wood. So the next step now is to use these smaller chisels to get that last bit of waste wood between the lines and the junk, unneeded junk. And then I'll go around the outside, the outside border. And this is going to involve quite a lot of turning and twisting, I'm sorry, because it's all got to go with wood grain. And it's driven by the angle of the lines that are on the block, so it's going to be round and round and round, I'm sorry. You have to carve, away from each area, not towards it. So if you've been watching recently, you can see I've changed the camera angle. The camera is now positioned behind my right shoulder. And it's looking down, seeing pretty much what I'm seeing myself, just from a slightly different angle. It's too bad I didn't do this yesterday, because when I was carving where is it? I was carving this guy's hair and beard. It would have been nice for you to be able to see that, but we're learning as we're going along here. washing, I'm not, I just glanced at the question, so I'm not sure. You're talking about while I'm carving the black lines on the block here, or are you talking about when I'm printing? I think when I'm printing. We wash the blocks, after any given printing session. If there's any fear that the glue, if we've used, for example, if we've used glue in the pigment or something, then yeah, we have to wash the blocks down. It's no problem, just take them to the sink, put them under the tap and go for it. We wash them, with a light, very soft brush, a toothbrush or something or whatever. It's all water-based stuff. The blocks are okay with water. There are times when the blocks, a color block, for example, if it's shrunk too much or doesn't fit, or having registration problems, we'll soak it. We put it in a bathtub. We've got a bucket here. We fill it with water, put the block under, put a weight on top so it stays under, and come back in the morning. So they're not sensitive to water. They're difficult when this is against the grain, but I have no choice because of the way the angles work here. So let's just be careful. Too big. No, the lines don't fill up with pigment. At the moment we're printing, we put the pigment on the block, brush it out, brush it out. At that moment, they could be, if we're careless, the lines will get pigment between them. And the printer's got to be careful to brush it out very softly and lightly so that the soft hairs of the brush pull the pigment out of the lines. And when the printing session is over, we wash the block so that there's nothing left stuck in there. But at the moment of printing, it's sometimes difficult. Yeah, if we're careless, then pigment gets in there and the print is spoiled. Seems I was pretty rough with this last night. I think I was in a hurry to get to dinner. I didn't leave this as smooth as I could have. I'm not sure what you can see here. I'm trying to leave these unneeded areas the right depth so that they don't smear. I also want to leave them smooth. At the moment there's kind of bumpiness, little peaks and troughs. It doesn't really matter because it's below the printing area. But if you leave it not smooth, then as we're rubbing pigment across the block for printing, those peaks and stuff pick up pigment. Now the peaks in this area here pick up pigment, and it gradually builds up and builds up and builds up to the point where it starts to get high enough to be out of danger. So yeah, we want this unneeded area nice and smooth. Yeah, crunch, crunch. It's a nice sound, isn't it? It's fun. Keep quiet here, just listen to the crunch. Bit of a hard spot here, dangerous area. That one needs sharpening. Put that aside for a minute. Too dangerous. Spin it here. People are getting dizzy when I spin too much, but it's a bit light there. I think this is where I came in. We've been all the way around now then. Okay. Okay, let me zoom back out for a second here, show you what's going on. Oops, okay, here's the block. This is the Kyosai side. That's where Jed's image is going to go sometime in a few days. But right now then, when I got to this stage last night, I finished cutting out the key lines, cleared a bit of the waste, and I hadn't decided, is this print going to have a border line or not? And we've decided to go ahead. We're going to do a border. So that's my next job now, to cut these lines. If I can find the right focus point here, let's see, get my lens back. I'm going to want to cut just about there. Is the camera in the right place? Yeah, I think we're okay. Maybe dial back the light, it seems to be giving trouble. Okay, let's do this. That cross grain, this one I just did just now, was down across the grain. That was relatively easy for straight lines. This one now I'm cutting with the grain of the block. Now this is tough because the knife wants to follow grain. So I'm tipping it down. I think you can see what I'm doing here. The angle here, go down, 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 down. So that as much as possible of the knife is buried in the wood. To try and keep it on track. We are back to the cross grain. Am I keeping it in the camera? I don't know. It's a hard spot. See the color of the wood's different there? It's dark to the right hand side of the blade. Coming lighter now. Oops, got a bit of fat there, I think. Not quite sure. That's where we started. I'm doing a V here, but it's a bit shallow. I mean, this wood is not popping out yet because I do not want to cut into the line that I just left, obviously. Let's go back then. Now the V is going to pop out in some places, and in some places not quite. Let's do it from the top. Is it going to pop out? Where are we here? Okay, there's our V. We've got our clear line. I'm going to deepen it just a hair here before I start clearing against it now. Okay. I'll turn it over. This is hard, brittle wood up here in this part of the block. Okay, part one. I hear the questions out. "90-degree cuts unlike his usual 45. Not quite sure what you're seeing there. I don't know. "90-degree cuts. I neither do 45. I cut this line where my knife is. Maybe it's just the camera angle you're seeing there. I'm tipped over here. I'm not 90 degrees. This would be 90 here. Excuse me. I'm tipped over, so I don't know, 20, 25, somewhere on there. So I'm not sure what you're seeing. I don't have a 90 here. And I came at this about whatever, 20 degrees or so. Kind of. Let's put this one, before I try the V cut, let me put this one in a tad deeper first. Okay, now let's put the V in. sometimes we can pop it out first time. There she goes. Now a tad deeper again still. I couldn't do it too deep before because the wood was in the way, but I can put a bit deeper now. And back to the clearing. Got to find the high points here and knock them off. I want that thing to be flat in the bottom, not ridged. Okay. There's no way this V is going to come out because the first cut I made there was quite shallow because it was cross grain. So this isn't going to come out the first time. The V's don't meet here. The cut I'm making here and the cut I made before, they were both a bit shallow. So we're going to have to re-scribe them. Okay. down the main line again. Okay, I got a tiny bit deeper now, just a bit of safety for what I'm clearing. This is hard, crispy wood here. Looks like he forgot about my question. Anyway, catch up on this later. What question? Is there something in the question box I was supposed to... There was a question. Sorry about that. Where am I? When you've printed on the color blocks, they get stained with pigment. Can you change the colors without mixing the previous color in? Good question. It's tough. It's tough. If you print a block, you know, new block, whatever, no color on it. You print it with, I don't know, whatever, I don't know, blue or something, a strong, rich, deep color. Then after we test print it, we decide we don't like blue, we want to do yellow or something. We're in trouble because we're going to get green. I don't know. The pigments seep into the block, they sink in there. And you can wash it and wash it and wash it, but they've gone down into the wood, and as you're printing, they keep coming back up and keep coming back up. And there's stuff you can do and stuff you can't do. And that one I mentioned, if it's blue, it's never going to be yellow. But if it's been, you know, blue, you can change it to green, you know, stuff that's related. I think modern people who are doing this, they get one set of blocks and they're experimenting with colors and stuff. I think they coat it. What was the stuff they used? Some kind of thinner or something. I don't know. It's outside of my experience. We don't coat our blocks with anything. And it's a problem. If we want to do test printing with different colors, we soak the block first so that it's wet and just water has soaked down inside it. If you hit a dry block with pigment, with wet pigment, it just soaks right deeply in and you're dead for that. But if you moisten the block thoroughly first and water has soaked down into it, then the pigment doesn't soak in quite so much. So if you're testing and still not sure what color to use, yeah, moisten the block well first. But it's a problem. Okay, I'll deepen this a bit more as usual before I start clearing. Excuse me a sec here. Okay. Hope I'm keeping in the field of view here. You know, it's difficult to watch both the camera . No, it's too dark. I can't see it now. Grade starts to go the other way here, so we've got to come the other direction. Oops. Apologies for that. The camera's really close to my right arm there, you know. Lisa and I, oh yeah, my son and I were thinking about figuring out some kind of overhead boom. So the camera sort of is on a boom that's over my head or something, and that we can be more flexible, move it around and stuff. That's a tough patch on this wood here. This is against the grain. It's both ways. The grain is wavery here, so no matter which way you go, you're going to get trouble. Could try it this way, I'm not sure. Oh, it's the wrong way again. No. Oh, here's where we started, back to the corner. Okay, let's zoom out and have a look at it again. Okay, there's the core of the thing, the design, and the inside of the lines. Now, I've got to go and do the outside of the lines. And this is a bit touchy today because I didn't actually prepare a clear design. The thickness of the lines that are drawn here are not correct. This one's too thin, this one's too fat. They were just position markers. So what I've got to do now is go and do this freehand. How are we going to do this? Let me zoom back in. Where am I? Trying to find the position again, sorry. Okay. So as I was saying, this line, as it's written on the block here, is a bit too fat. This one's a bit too thin. So I'm going to ignore those lines right now. I'm just going to cut the standard thickness that I want. But we have a problem. Now, when I did this one a minute ago, it's okay. I was cutting and there's a little bit of stress on both sides of the knife, but because this was a solid piece of wood. But now, when I cut this side, this is solid and this is weak because it's only a very thin area. So before cutting this one, I'm going to put in a stress relief cut out in the junk area here. This is the area that's going to be removed. Just a light cut there, a bit of stress relief, so that when I cut this now, this wood can give a little bit. Now, let's see. As I said, that line's a bit too fat, so I'm going to cut into it here. There we go. Getting too fat. A bit too fat there, I'll be trimmed later. See the wood moving apart now because of the stress cut. Looks a really hard spot here. Gotta be careful there. Very, very hard right there. Okay, back we come again. Now this can be done with a lot more force here now because this wood is, it's not going to pop out just yet because the V's haven't matched at the bottom. But we can get close to it here. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Okay, back we go again. It's popped out in a couple of places. Right here is that real hard spot. It's not going to pop out there. There we go. Don't know about this camera angle. My hands are in the way or not. I'm not sure. Okay, there's our V. And same procedure. Deepen the cut now. Now that the stress is all gone. Okay. The first print series I did, that 100 Poets, you know, they all had borderlines around the outside. It was a double borderline. My God, I used to crack, pop, split before I learned these basics, you know. Make sure there's stress relief. Before you start this part of it, make sure that cut has been deepened properly. Then watch out for hard spots like this, you know. And given those 3 or 4 things to watch for, lines should come out stable, strong. even lines across the grain like this. Another hard spot, like a rock here. Careful. Come around the other way here. So there we go. Nice, neat, clean, stable, strong line. Reasonably straight. Let's do it again. Now that one I had to cut a bit thinner than the sample line. This one's going to be a tiny bit fatter than the sample line. I really should have taken the trouble to get those. This is a bit more difficult now. The knife wants to wander with the grain, so. It's already wandering, look at that, it's a bit thinner, see that? Bit fat, bit thin. Gonna need some shaving here after test printing. Do you see this, by the way? It's one of the registration marks. I've got to remember not to cut that off when I'm clearing this next stage. Been there, done that. Let me check that. Is that for today or hang on a sec? Party reservation day. No, months away, no problem. People reserve these parties, you know. I don't know. Sometimes the reservations come in the same day. Like could have been a reservation for 10 o'clock this morning. So it's actually for November or late October, I think it was. We get them. We've got the reservations now for next August. Oh, look at that. Got it off in one piece. Strange. Oh. Just caught right at the end here. Oh. Okay, again, before clearing, deepen this thing just a little bit. This one will need adjustments. A bit thinner at the end here than it was back up at the front. I'll need to trim that. But We don't trim at this stage. That's going to come after I do a test printing. So, am I still in the field of view? This registration mark, so when I'm working with a hammer in a minute, I don't pop it off. Oh, Jed sir. Good morning, Jed sir. Yeah, exactly right. So when we're cutting with the grain, the wood is so much more compressible. You don't need so much that stress cut. If this had been a really, really delicate, thin, fine line, I would have done it. But no, along the grain like this, it's all spongy. It squeezes and squeezes and squeezes. It's against the grain, it'll just pop out. So yeah, good catch. I didn't need the stress cut here. I'll do it again in just a moment. Jed, yours won't be cut here now. Yours is going to Kawasaki-san down in Kobe. As soon as I'm finished this today, I'll be pasting your design into that empty wood here, and it'll be in the mail on the way to her. Okay, here we go. Stress cut, stress relief. A bit closer, I think, maybe. Let's see. Oops. Hard spot. It skates across the hard spots. I don't get the cut, and it's the place where I need it the most. Okay, here we go. I think that line's just about the right thickness, so let's just try it. Lightly first, there's no way I'm going down into a V at this point. We're not trying to pop that piece of wood out. We're just trying to get the first score, the first scoring cut, establish the line. There's so little wood left on the left side that if I cut too deeply here, we'd lose it. Okay, shade deeper. You can see the V moving now. There we go. Okay. Now we can cut back in on this one much deeper, it doesn't matter. And this one should now pop most of it out. Look at that crunch. Bingo. We get a beautiful, beautiful line. Look at this. I don't know the angle, 20, 25 degrees or something on each side. Rock solid, not a chip or a pop or a nick on it. Let's just clear away a bit more of the waste. I've got to be careful here. If I forget, Jed's print's going here, and his print has a border, so no-go zone. Seems all right. Asking questions to Jed. Hey. So sumi. Glasses on, glasses off. Question box. Yeah, I think I know. Sorry, the mail check's a bit late. I see that. The stress relief business. I don't. Did I answer it or not? I'm not sure. The stress relief is vital with across the grain cuts, and sometimes it's not needed with the grain cuts. This wood is very spongy today. I'm not carving very thin lines. The knife slides in there, and the wood just sort of sponges sponges away on each side. It's not so necessary. But with hard brittle wood on a cross grain, the wood can't expand. All it can do is move away and chip. So yeah, simple answer. On the cross grain, it's vital. With the grain, it's less so. Case by case. It's also how far away and how deep to make it, On very delicate work, very hard wood, you've got to get the stress relief cut quite close. It's like the other side of that V going in first. Running out of place to hold the wood, so flip around. A whole different feeling across the grain, a different direction. Okay, 1, 2, 3, one left. And there's nothing there for me to look at. Yeah. What thickness do we want? Somewhere around there. Flying by eye is not such a good idea here. You know, I should have taken the trouble to draw it on, but whatever. This is going to be too thick. Better to be safe that way so I can trim it after test printing. I don't know if you can see it, the wood just squeezes out of the way on both sides. Oops, too thick there for sure. Come on, Dave, get back in line. The grain's pushing me all over the place here. Left, right, left, right. More question. How's our time here? 9:13. God. At least I'll get this block finished. I was thinking I'd get back to the octopus this morning. You have a lot of stories. Have you ever been approached about publishing them in a book? No, no idea. No idea. Never. I know, going back about 10 years or so, whatever, someone had told me one day, Dave, this is, your stories, blah, 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 were funny, interesting, tell more stories, put them online. So I started that website, A Story a Week, where I put a story up on the web each week and put an audio version. I told the story in audio and in a written form. 10 years. I did it nearly 10 years. And it died, just got no interest. There was nothing, no followers, nobody watching it, nothing going on. So I had no intention of quitting, but 3 years ago when the Saksa shop started here, the burden, my life just changed dramatically, and I just couldn't keep that up. So that was sort of a test for me to see if there had been interest, and there wasn't, so I just let it go. And I'm still letting it go. I don't care, whatever. But it's there, astoryaweek.com. I know they're all with audio, except the last 30 or 40 of them or so don't have audio versions. And the earliest ones from about 10 years before that have poor or non-existent audio. But most of them in the middle of the pack. So if you're curious and you want to see more, hear more, whatever, there's A Story a Week, one word, astoryaweek.com. Actually, I remember now, I actually had forgotten about it. I tried publishing some myself. The A Story a Week things. I made a collection, a yearly collection, and published it myself. I know we had, I don't know, what can I say, before the heroes and stuff came along, most of the way I sent my work out was through an exhibition. I had an exhibition in Tokyo every year, every spring, every January. spring by the old calendar. And it was well attended. So what we did is I published those books myself in a small, simple paperback form and put them up on a stand in the exhibition. And people walked out with them, lots of them. But since we haven't been doing exhibitions, there's been no reason to do that. So I let it go. And the other thing that's there, we were talking about it on this stream the other day, is for 25 years I did publish myself a quarterly newsletter 4 times a year. It wasn't stories per se, but it was talking about craftsmen I had known, people I had visited, different aspects to the work, stuff like that. And those are all online. If you just went to my website, woodblock.com, and poke around till you find the newsletter section, and yeah, there's 25 years of accumulated newsletters and episodes and stories and whatever, all there. So it's not like you don't have access. If you want more of this, it's there. This block, it's halfway down, it changes direction, the grain. Okay, there we are. Oops, banged the camera, sorry. Gone around. Now, I have a bit of a problem here to what to do next. Let me zoom out again so you can see what's happening. Get rid of the lens. There we go. The lines are set. This side can't be touched. This is where Jed's image is going. And the last step is to clean these off. But this is hammer work. And my camera tripod is tied to the bench. And if I start using a hammer now, it's gonna... So let me unhook this thing. Sorry for let me just get the camera moved away from the bench here just a minute. Sorry for the seasickness here. Okay. Now let me get it set. It's going to be okay. Okay. Now, Mr. Persuader, get rid of the small tools. I'll need this one. I'll need this one. And I might need this one. I don't know. We'll see. Now, the other thing is the noise. We had trouble with this last night. As soon as I started banging, it's right by the microphone. So I'm going to take the mic here and move it away. Away from me. Now, my voice may have gone down, but I think it's best considering what I'm about to do. So, get my close-up glasses. The other thing you're about to find out is that Twitch's audio and video aren't synchronized. It hasn't mattered to my voice so far because you haven't been able to see my mouth, but now you're about to find out. Look at this. What do you think? Should I turn the audio down, turn it up? You guys going to handle it? Turn it down at your own end? It's up to you. not in the field of view anymore. So let's adjust this thing. Up we go. No, actually, I'm not sure if that's correct. I know the audio at the moment, the mic is plugged into the camera. The mic is plugged into the camera, so the audio and the video are coming from the camera directly together into the broadcasting software. And it's not just me. I was watching another Twitch stream 2 days ago, a woodworker in Australia, and it's exactly the same thing. Every bang of his hammer was a half-second delay. And when I take this camera feed and put it in iMovie, it's not a problem. So, not to try and blame somebody else, but I think it's Twitch. For some reason they're separating it and streaming it separately, I think. Anyway, at the moment, there's nothing I can do about it. When I later put my highlight stuff up on YouTube, I'll try and resync it, of course, but oh, Dave. Camera up, camera down, sorry. Sorry about messing around here. There's no way around it, sorry. This is dangerous now because this tends to split in advance of the chisel. So carefully, bit by bit, till I see how the wood is going to behave. And first, let's protect the registration mark. How many times have I cut these off by mistake? Again, this is Jed's territory, so let's leave it alone. Alright, for the final step, we've got to clear off that last little ridge. Where are we? Should I go back to the... Can we just hold it like that, I guess? Leave the registration mark alone. The printers clean that up themselves. They always have the way they like to use it, so carvers just leave it alone. I'll put my mic back on. Look at this, almost doorbell time. People know my own schedule better than I do. 9:27. It's Teiko-san and Matsumura-kun today. So the doorbell, yeah. Those two are not early people. They show up. Teiko-san comes from a long way away. She commutes well over an hour and a half, I guess. So she doesn't have a lot of flexibility. She's got to be on a particular train. The people who live, in town, they come by subway. You don't even time it. You just head down to the subway. I got the wrong glasses on. Miss Geyer, hello. Pleased to see you. Thanks for tuning in. So, the registration marks are... There's a lady on the question here asking about the registration marks because it's a little bit confusing here. We're going to print these two things together. After this is carved, we will be printing, as you've seen in the videos, together. And that just needs a corner registration mark here and one registration mark here. So the paper will go in, laid along with a registration here and a registration here. But we've kept an option open that we're thinking that over the years, once this series subscriptions are sort of finished, some years in the future, we might want to print just Jed's prints by themselves. Maybe they'll be sold separately. We can't see that yet, or maybe they'll be whatever. So we've carved another registration mark here, which we are at the moment not using. The paper will go in here, and here is a long sheet. And we have the option at some point to print just the right-hand side, corner mark and line. There's no option to print just this side. It would mean carving another corner mark here, which would get in the way of all the carving we're doing, of all the printing we're doing. So a long answer to a simple question. There are 3 registration marks on one block, which sort of doesn't seem to make sense. But the main ones are these 2. And to answer another unspoken question from the same lady, I'm going to Ome on Tuesday to catch up on backlogged work out there, including subscription books and things. So thank you for your patience on that. It's been quite a project to keep that together. Okay, that's done. That's done. Let's go up top. Do you guys see it? I don't know. No idea. Not going to mess with the camera angle just for the last couple of minutes here. Where's the doorbell? It's 9:30. What's going on? What day is it? It's Friday. We are open today. Actually, I hear banging on the front door. Now, what I suspect is Teiko-san's here, but she doesn't have her key. So excuse me a moment. I think I have to go and open the door. And I'm going to have to bang the camera to get by. Not only bang it, I'm going to have to move it. This is a bit chaotic. Yeah, tell you what. Let's just sign off. It's 9:30. I'm done. We're pretty much done this thing except for that last side. Okay. Thank you very much for watching again. Today is Friday morning. Schedule is Friday afternoon. I'll be back here, I think, back on the Octopus, 5:30 Tokyo time here. And I should be back up on Saturday morning at this time schedule, 8 o'clock Tokyo time, for that one as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. Interesting questions too. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much.